So it looks like tabloid fat shaming is fully back in the culture. I just noticed that it's on social media now instead of the shelves at grocery stores. Madelyn Cline is currently getting fat shamed or chubby shamed, whatever term you'd like to call it, on Twitter. In this tweet, it says, "I like girls that are a little fat just like this." And in the photo, you see Madelyn Cline wearing this revealing white dress and smiling at the camera. And this just invited the ire of tens of thousands of people.
I mean, they purposely picked like a bad screenshot. It's kind of the same dishonest thing that they were doing with Rachel Zegler, where they're like, they find a still of her speaking and she's making a funny face and they're like, guys. And it's like, she's literally in the middle of talking. You could do that for anyone.
And moving. It looks like she's in the middle of like moving into frame of a picture. I mean, Madelyn Cline is already... she's not a very well-known actress quite yet. But
I just remember her from Glass Onion.
Yeah,
right?
I remember her from Glass Onion and nothing else.
That's the only thing.
But
she was the one that was dating Dave Bautista's character in that.
Right.
Like he was the influencer and she was the influencer and she was using him.
She was the anti-feminist.
And she wanted to
influencer.
She wanted to like go beyond that and be like go and become a regular influencer, but she had to start as the anti-feminist influencer. That's all I remember from that.
It was kind of cute. I don't know. But she's already so attractive that even a bad or unflattering screen cap of her is only going to hit so hard. Like, she still looks good. And here were some of the responses. "She wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole." Another one said, "Negging doesn't work anymore, men." And another said, "I think all men should get their eyeballs removed so they can never look at women again."
Wait, so is this true that it doesn't work anymore?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
I hate negging and I hate everything about like the premeditated nature of it. Okay. But and I do not respond positively to it personally, but I know that there are a lot of women who do because they have low self-esteem and they don't respect themselves.
I did see you bring up catcalling the other day on X.
Yeah, catcalling is like almost the polar opposite of negging.
Yeah.
It's like effusively praising a woman almost like by force to force her to acknowledge you. It's like real life simping. It's like if the simps in the comment sections were in real life screaming at you.
Look, I saw a guy catcalling in that trailer from before, so.
Right, and she responded positively to it.
Well, so that's your advice here, guys. It's okay to, like, you're going to get a response on catcalling as long as they're terminally ill.
Well, this is kind of a form of negging that the girl in the photo is literally never going to see.
Yeah.
Another one said, "Calling her fat describes how some men have lost touch with reality. Some of y'all are so chronically online and porn-brained you've genuinely forgotten what an actual human body looks like outside of the porn and reels you consume. That's not fat. That's just a real woman's body. Be effing serious." What's your take? Do you think that she looks fat?
I think it's a horrible photo. Her leg's in motion, and she's wearing a dress with like a slit all the way up to the top, and her leg is like looks wider than it probably is from what I saw in the other photos. I looked at some of the other stuff from that night, and she looked normal, I guess. But it's purposely a bad screenshot, so it's disingenuous from the start.
I think it's a bad photo of an extremely good-looking person.
Also, these things never interest me because they're designed to like.
It's rage bait.
They're designed to pit the genders against each other.
Yeah, it's rage bait.
Yeah.
And I agree that I'm fatigued with it as well. Yeah. But I am willing to admit, just as a woman observing all of this, that personally, I wouldn't want to like be at that weight. Okay. So
how tall is she?
She's 5'6".
Okay.
But let's say, you know, you could just like in MS Paint, just minimize her to a smaller size. Like I wouldn't personally want to look like that. I can admit that, and that's just me.
Did you see that
but
picture?
That says nothing to what men prefer.
Did you see that picture that was going viral on X like last weekend of the woman who got caught face tuning? Like her finger was like this wide.
Yeah, I'm like, is this some kind of performance art now? Where we're gonna like Photoshop ourselves in a very obviously clockable way as like a way to get more engagement or to start a discourse. Like, I don't know. Have we gotten to the point where we're like post-irony face tuning?
Well, this is kind of the age we live in now, given the fact that most of the contact you see of other people is online. So I don't even know if porn brained is necessarily the right term for it. I think that social media brained is actually probably a better example of that. Like I feel like that's too specific and purposely degrading when everyone would be a victim of this, even women who spend all of their time on social media. I mean, we just did a whole topic yesterday about women who can't recognize their own faces because they're taking selfies 24 hours a day. No one's hands are clean in this for the most part. It's like the toxic videos of the really skinny women who are like, what I eat in a day.
Yes, exactly. I was about to say, like, I've noticed the resurgence, or not really the resurgence, but just the newfound popularity of skinny talk, which is the niche on TikTok dedicated to girls who want to lose weight or want to stay skinny, and they're finally past the body positivity era where they're not ashamed to openly admit that. And some people think that it's veering into a toxic direction where statements like this about Madelyn Cline's body type are socially acceptable and the tastes are changing in what is acceptable, you know? And we're going back to when, like, you know, a random celebrity gains 10 pounds, they get a paparazzi photo taken on the beach.
Yeah.
And there's a tabloid the next day calling them a beached whale.
Yeah.
But it's just on social media now, so it's more immediate, and it also...
They've decentralized it.
Exactly.
And democratized shaming.
So the mainstream media is praising it while social media is responsible for being as toxic as possible. And this was also the case in this post about Scarlett Johansson from Paul, who identifies himself as a hypergamy strategist on X. He says, like, Scarlett is so mid, bro. Hashtag change my mind.
This photo's very old. This whole topic, I mean, we covered it on this channel, like over a year ago.
So in this photo, she's wearing a bikini, if you're listening rather than watching, and they've circled a photo of her cellulite on the back of her thigh, and then also the next one circles her lower stomach, which is protruding by like an inch.
I mean, this is a whole cottage industry of people who make a living talking about this type of stuff. So
this ended up getting a community note, actually.
Oh yeah, I disagreed with the community note, however.
They say this post is farming engagement in order to monetize misogyny. It is also prohibited on X.
And it does speak to Mary's point that she made a long time ago that, you know, community notes now are really just clapbacks.
No, yeah, and when I pointed that out, people got so mad at me because they're like, no, it's about transparency and fact-checking. No, I mean, you can tell that if a community note like this exists, it's really just a way to, like, officially clap back someone in a way that they can't come back from. But I looked deeper into this guy who calls himself a hypergamy strategist, and I realized that one of his posts actually was covered on PCC last year, which was also about Scarlett Johansson, and he posted this clip from the show thanking us for the coverage. Yeah. Let me see.
If Scarlett Johansson is mid, then you're in for a really, really rough existence.
Seriously.
Right? If anything, what it's doing is you're setting yourself up for failure, because that means that every woman that you're with is going to be likely below mid. Or if she's below mid and you rate her higher, it just proves the existence of love.
Yep.
Follow me on X for more hilarious insights about
He's like completely AI generating these clips, but he said, examine the contentious nature of categorizing Scarlett Johansson as mid and the repercussions it has on her dedicated fan base.
Like I said,
you're one of her dedicated fans, apparently.
It's probably the last time I thought about Scarlett Johansson. He's just a content creator, and this is the stuff that he does.
Well, there's a deeper argument.
I mean, that's probably way longer. That clip is probably from a long, long time ago because I had different glasses on. So
from back in
probably
like early 2024, I think,
or maybe even before that.
Maybe before that. Yeah, I wasn't on that episode, I guess, or I was, and he just cut me out of the clip. Yeah. But he has a whole basically piece of advice for men. He says that treating all women like they're mid actually helps men get better with women, and this is his explanation for that.
Glad you asked that question because a lot of people just don't get it. They just don't get it. I learned a long time ago reading a really good book called How to Be a 3% Man by a guy named Corey Wayne. And he talks about how it benefits men to treat all women the same. Because what usually happens is guys tend to treat really beautiful women one way. They put them on pedestals and they treat them super nice. And then they treat ugly girls like human beings, like normal people. They just sort of are very indifferent with them. The thing that sets guys apart who are really good with women is they treat the really pretty ones the same way they treat the ugly ones. They treat them all the same. So if you take that one step further and just treat them all like they're ugly or they're all mid, then you will be less likely to put the really hot ones on a pedestal. And that will actually set you apart from the other guys that are simping over these really hot girls.
I feel like if we were to give the most charitable interpretation of something like this, treat everybody like a human being.
That's what he thinks he's saying, but what struck me about his argument in that clip is that I feel like what men actually do is they put the more attractive women on a pedestal, or whoever they're pursuing on a pedestal, then they kind of dismiss the existence of any woman that they're not actively pursuing. Right?
I guess.
I mean, I feel like that's closer to reality. I think I'm going to do that thing where you, like, bring up a study that you saw once that you have no idea what it is or if it's real. But I saw a study once that said men actually feel, like, feelings of hostility and aggression when they're looking at or interacting with women they deem that they rate less attractive or unattractive.
Interesting.
So it actually, like, allegedly makes them angry to look at a woman that they believe is ugly. So I don't really think that it's fair to say, like, men just treat women that they're not interested in as human beings.
Okay.
All the time. I think they're actually they tend to be mean to women that they find ugly.
I mean, I think
in my opinion,
in these examples, giving broad generalizations doesn't really help for most of the time. I mean,
we do know attractive people get treated well.
It is a proven fact that in the workplace, people who are deemed more attractive get preferential treatment.
They're seen as smarter, more trustworthy.
That's what they call as pretty privilege.
Yeah, pretty privilege is real.
But I mean, that type of inequity exists in, like, all businesses. I remember the one clip of the guy, I don't remember what show we were watching, he's talking about, like, how describing the type of guy you hire to sell cars. And it's like he has to make you feel vital and like you're part of the winning team and that you're gonna make it all the way to the Super Bowl. And so they're like, that makes no sense. And the guy who works there's like, no, he's right. Like that's exactly right. Like there's just you don't want to buy something from somebody who doesn't look like they know what they're talking about, even if most of the time they're not actually talking about something they understand. It's like when they talk about people who sell products, like you bet like the people who research one of the things they're selling has infinitely more to offer you, even if they don't actually understand what they're talking about because they've interacted with the material. So good-looking people who are selling you something are automatically going to have an advantage over somebody who doesn't look all that spry.
Right. I completely agree.
I think buying life insurance from somebody who looks sickly.
Yeah. I think that you can avoid being a simp who puts women up on a pedestal while also being kind. And you can also do that while treating men and women like they're different. Like, you still need to treat men and women differently because they are different, regardless of who you are.
Yeah, but that's not even what he's talking about here. He's talking about different ways to treat women, not different ways to treat men and women.
But he didn't, like, say this explicitly, but the idea behind it is like, oh, well, if you treat hot chicks like they're mid, then they'll, like, want you more because they're gonna, like, it's like negging, basically. It's a form of negging, and, like, The reason I hate negging so much, especially if someone's using negging as a way to flirt, is because you're trying to treat me, a woman, like I'm one of your bros, and that's what's disconcerting about it.
I see most of this stuff, and all I imagine that I'm going to hear next is buy my course book.
Oh, I'm sure that he has one. Yeah, he says that he's a best-selling author.
Okay, well,
Right.
make your money.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Rub banana peels on your face.
Make your money. Like, it's a guy's job to know, when you're being fed bullshit, and women's job to not let it bother them when men feed you bullshit.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.